Hi everyone, this is Cedar Firefly, and I am going to teach you some of the basics about magic and witchcraft, fundamental and theory. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. If you see me looking down, it's because I did take notes, so I stay on track. So my given name is Crystal Tiana Seago, and my magical name, of course, is Cedar Firefly. I'm 42 years old. I have been married to my best friend and the love of my life, Sean, for over 18 years. I have 3 kids. Ashley's 24, Azariah is 21, and Cyrus is 18. Since I've been practicing magic since I was 16, but I've been studying witchcraft itself for over 25 years. I've been out of the broom closet, so to speak, for 4 years, and I can tell you right now, it has changed my life. The goddess has done nothing but bless me on this new path I have taken, so I'm very grateful for her and for the Creator, but we'll discuss deity in another time. I'm permanently disabled. I suffer from myofascial pain syndrome, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, diabetes, and bipolar. But I have been steady and doing really good for years now, so that's good. What I am going to try to teach you comes from my experience of my many years of research and learning from multiple sources of knowledge. So what I am about to present to you comes from me, not from a book I'm reading. If I do pull something out of a book to share with you, I will tell you. Let's see. If something I have said you don't agree with, that's cool. You don't have to agree with everything I have to say. This is just my perspective on things. But I will tell you that I've done a lot of research, so if you don't agree with me, try to do some research. Maybe you can see where I'm coming from. Or maybe not. We can agree to disagree. Alright, sisters. What is magic and what isn't it? Magic is a natural thing, not supernatural at all. When creating magic, we work with the natural law, not against it. Scott Cunningham's definition of magic is using natural energies to create needed change. We do not force nature to our will. We work with it. Aleister Crowley defines magic as the art or science of causing change to occur in conformity with will. And how do we do this? By learning to use the energies in ourselves and in the natural world. Some prefer to call these energies power. Now there's 3 kinds of power. There's personal power, energy that comes from inside you. There's earth power, power that comes from the energies within the earth and everything that lives upon it. And then there's divine power, which is the power we get from our higher source, whether that be God, Goddess, Creator, or the All. It doesn't matter. That's all divine power. Magic is not inherently good or bad, or black or white. It is neutral. Neutral energy until you program it with intent. There are no pacts with the devil, no sacrificing animals or people. Can't turn people into zombies, or give you the ability to physically fly, or make sparks come out our fingertips. Now, I'm not saying any of you sisters would believe in any of those things. I'm just saying these are some of the things that bring some sisters to the craft, and it really blows my mind sometimes what some people believe. Do you have to be religious in order to do magic? To perform magic, in short, no. Magic can be done in any religious concept or context. Although most mainstream religions are totally against it, which I'm sure all of you know. And when I speak of mainstream religions, I'm mostly talking of the three Abrahamic religions, which is Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. More on those later. But witchcraft itself is considered a religion all on its own. Okay? People who only practice magic are usually called magicians. Or you may not have a title at all. You live it every day in all you do, or at least you strive to. More on that later. So what is a witch and what isn't a witch? What do you think of when you hear the word witch? So controversial, isn't it? Do you think of pointed hats and people flying around on brooms? Or maybe you remember movies you've watched where witches do impossible things with just few words or gestures. Or maybe you think of the ancient healers living in small cottages outside of town, making potions and spells to help others. No matter what comes to mind, being a witch is a very down-to-earth way of life. Okay. As we all know, literally. The title of witch is very controversial, even in this day and age. Old prejudices still exist thanks to the mainstream religions and mainstream media. Only in the past 50 years have we been able to call ourselves witches openly and not be tortured or killed for our beliefs. So that's only here in America. I'm sure you know about the medieval and American witch hunts, and in many countries even today, people are being killed for being accused of doing witchcraft or being a witch, which amazes me in this day and age. It's still happening. There are some reasons why not to be a witch, and here are just a few. You want to make someone specifically fall in love with you. You want to impress people, your friends, your family. You want to control people. You want to piss your family or friends off. You want supernatural powers, or because you think it's going to be an easy thing to learn to do. Because of its shock value, oh, you're a witch. Or you're rebelling against your old religion. Or you want to hurt people. So what makes you a witch? Just because you call yourself a witch doesn't make you one. Witchcraft is a craft that is intended to be practiced and experienced. And that's very important, girls. Or women. Sisters. All the knowledge in the world still doesn't make you a witch. Wearing all black and covering yourself in pentagrams doesn't make you a witch, and just because you've casted one spell, that doesn't make you a witch either. A witch is a person who works with natural energies of the earth and the universe. A witch is someone who casts spells, celebrates the changing of the seasons and the moon, uses energy to help others and themselves heal. They respect themselves and the earth and other people. They never stop learning, uses divination in all its forms or any of its forms to make better choices in life, lives in an ethical way and strives to always know themselves and are not afraid to dig deep inside themselves honestly and with love and acceptance for who they really are. Being a witch is not an easy life, let me tell you. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot to learn. It requires a serious commitment, personal sacrifice, and making changes to yourself in your life. Because change is what we're trying to create with our craft. So just be aware of that. Anyone can be a witch. Anyone. But not all people who call themselves witches really are. We all have the potential to be a witch and to practice witchcraft if you want it bad enough. And I seriously mean that. Now there's some ethical considerations to take into mind. When you practice witchcraft, you must always take into consideration how it affects other people. And this is important. Living a ethical life is a choice, of course, but before you choose to go down the left-hand path, there are some things you might need to know and keep in mind. 1. What you do comes back to you. This is the principle of cause and effect. Every action has an opposite and an equal reaction. That, my sisters, is the science of physics. When you perform magic, whatever energy you send out to manifest will come back to you. Some call this karma, other calls this the law of 3. What you send out comes back 3 times. But not everybody believes that. That's left for another time for us to discuss. So let's say you perform a love spell to make a specific person fall in love with you. In essence, you are messing with their free will. And anytime you mess with anybody's free will, you start getting into the darker side of magic. Okay, so in turn, you may get what you want, but they may end up controlling you. I found this out personally the hard way, big time. Never do that. I seriously, not a specific person. Bad idea. You can also see it this way. Attract attracts like. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, misery loves company. And is that not true, ladies? This is because the more negative energy you send out into the universe, the more you will get back. Have you ever noticed that people who complain and are negative all the time keep having bad things happen to them? That's because the universe sends back what you focus on, even if it's not really what you want. So keep that mind sharp, ladies, and pay attention to what thoughts are going through the head. The next thing to think about is hexes and curses. Creating a spell to kill someone is, well, never a good thing. But you are always allowed to defend yourself. And some people get confused about this. If someone makes the first strike, if they do something in an attempt to hurt you in any way, you are allowed, ladies, to defend yourselves. So, they took the first step in reaping what they have sown. They already have it coming, and the universe knows this. But you don't need to do a death spell. You can send their spells back to them, bind them, have them arrested if they're committing crime, and many more other ways that won't hurt you in return by the end of the process. Okay, ladies? You can take, instead, preventative measures to ensure no one attacks you in the first place. Protection is a priority when doing magic. We're about to get into that. So, let's talk about one of the most important things a witch needs to know about before performing any magic. And this is protection. What do we need to protect ourselves from? And why? Well, there are several reasons. The number one reason is this, and I've learned this. When you become a witch, you become a beacon of light in the lighthouse, like a lighthouse in the astral realm. We are like shining stars to a dark and empty world. Now, I'm not saying the astral realm is all dark and all empty, but I am saying we draw in things, okay, to us. And like moths to a flame, we tend to attract all kinds of different astral beings and astral thought forms and astral other stuff, whether it's good or bad, positive or negative, okay? There are astral beings that actually feed on the energy we raise while doing magic, or even just existing. And once they find you, if they can attach to you, oh, believe me, they're going to do that. Also, when we're performing rituals, they really like that too. They are often negative in nature. The best way to describe them is they are like energy vampires sucking you dry of all your energy. And sometimes they can attach themselves to you. As they grow stronger, the weaker you get. So have you noticed that people who are really negative or depressed don't have any energy, maybe they might have an attachment of some sort, and that needs to be released from them. They can, because of their negative nature, they can wreak havoc in your life. They can create anger, depression, and especially fear, which are all very strong emotions that are especially full of energy that they love to eat and grow powerful on, and they will suck you dry. Some people might consider this to be a haunting, and in some respects it is. And other times, it may not be, but we'll go over that later. Another reason you need to protect yourself is negative energy that we unintentionally create ourselves or that we get from other people and things. As I said before, negative emotions such as anger, depression, and fear are a powerful form of energy. When we have fights with loved ones, when we are afraid or worried about something, or really sad, the energy these feelings create can collect, linger, and stick around us and our homes like a thick, dark, sticky fog. It is. To me, that's how I see it, like this greasy, luminous, dark material, tar-like, shiny, and this positive and negative energy flows around your house. It hits one of these globs of energy and it gets stuck to it like tar, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And then at some point, it's actually quite possible, if this negative thought form collects enough energy, it can be conscious. It can become an entity all in its own right with the conscious ability to do things. So, what do we do, girls? We prevent this from happening. It can make your house feel oppressive and very uncomfortable. Like you're always feeling like you're having to look over your shoulder, or you feel like something's staring at you. It might be. So we have to regularly clean this fog and this sticky tar away. And another reason is people can unintentionally and intentionally send negative energy your way. So, let's say you get in a huge fight with your best friend, and she goes home totally pissed off at you, and she's thinking in her head all the different ways she can hurt you. She's just cursing and thinking of these terrible things. And guess what, lady? They call it cursing for a reason. She has now cursed you. She has sent all this wave of negative energy straight to you, and she may not even realize it. Has no clue. And neither would you until it hits you like a whammy. Or let's say you piss off another witch. Now, there are people who talk about witch wars and witches attacking each other, and I know it happens. So there are things that you can do to protect yourself if, let's say, they try to put a hex or a spell on you that will make your life hell. Sure, they will have to deal with the karmic repercussions sooner or later themselves. It'll come back to them. But in the meantime, while bad stuff keeps happening to you. So all of these things can be avoided very easily by doing some simple protection spells and regular cleaning. So let's talk about some ways you can prevent and remove negative energy from yourself in your home. Here's the fun stuff, girls. Okay. Before you set up your protection, you need to create a energetically clean slate of your home and yourself and your entire property. Whether that be a room you have in a house, your apartment, whatever it is you've got that you're living in, whatever space you have that is private to you, you can do some of these methods, and some methods you can do completely with access to the entire property without having to live in a house. You can live in an apartment and do the entire property and try to protect it. So, let's do this. One of the ways to get rid of this energy is smudging, and a lot of you have heard of that. I'm sure you've seen people with bundles of sage, that they light and they blow out, and there's a smoke, and they usually have a feather, and they're walking around. That's smudging. It's the essence of using smoke to remove negative energy or negative and harmful energies and entities around you in your home. More people prefer using sage wrapped up into a bundle and burned. Sometimes other herbs are bundled with the sage, such as lavender, cedar, and others are dipped in resins, like Lady M is selling sage sticks dipped in dragon's blood, which is amazing because dragon's blood is very powerful and it's great for getting rid of negative energy, just like sage. Or witches can use charcoal discs. Now these charcoal discs, I'm sure you've heard of them. Sorry I didn't have them on hand. I should have had them by my screen. Alright, these charcoal discs come in rolls like this. You can actually get them at a hookah shop or a smoke shop somewhere. And this is what they look like. Well, this one's kind of broken on the side. But as you can see, this side has a little cup. Okay, now they're originally meant to be burned and herbs set on the top side like this. But I like using the bottom because there's this little ledge that seems to hold your herbs in better. So you take one of these, you only need one, and you put it in a heat-proof container that won't melt. Now, for instance, you can use your cauldron. You know, just place it in your cauldron. I don't like to burn anything directly on any surface without some protection in between, because I don't want this to get too hot, because it will get hot. So some people put sand, some people use salt, others use rice, just as long as it won't melt, smolder, burn, catch on fire, is a good heat insulator. It's a great idea. Then there's ones like the priests in Catholic Church use that hang on cords. And these containers that are used specifically for burning incense are called censers. Okay. Now, then you can use, if nothing else, incense sticks with the made out of the stuff that corresponds to cleansing and clearing, like frankincense, nag champa. You can even get sage incense sticks. Those are all great. I'm going to go over this at another time, but research, ladies. If you have never learned how to do research, or you've never done it before, gotta learn. Because magic isn't like someone's just going to hand a book to you, like a Bible or a Quran, and there's everything you need to know about life and the way you're supposed to live in one big book. We ain't got a book like that. In fact, we have thousands of books that are all different, that have so much different information, and it's not going to be handed to you. So you need to learn to dig out, put yourself out there, check your libraries, check the internet, borrow books from friends. But there's so much to learn. You just can't sit on your laurels and wait for that information to come to you. So research, research, research. Always do your research. And always check your sources, especially on the internet. Okay. If something doesn't seem right, probably isn't. Double check it with a different source. Okay. Now, when you're cleansing your home and yourself by smudging, you use the smoke to drive out harmful energies. You light your smudging method, creating the smoke. Then you need to open all the windows, the cupboard doors, even the doors, the medicine cabinet, the one under the sink, all of them, everything. And if it's too hot or too cold to open your windows all the way wide, which is always preferable, all you need is a crack. Because the idea is you're pushing the negative energy out of the house. And the more windows and doors you have open, The more new, fresh energies like can flow in easier, and the negative can flow out faster. But it's unnecessary if it's going to freeze you out of house and home or kill you because you're sweating so bad. You can only have to do a little. And if you can't open your doors, that's okay. We'll get back to that later. But that's the best way to go about doing it. Then you start from whatever room you want to start in, and you go counterclockwise. I start in the east. Some people start in the south, the north. Everybody has their preferences. I'm not here to tell you how to do everything. There's a lot of room to do what feels right to you. And that's what's awesome about being a witch. There's so many options. Yeah. Anyhow, maybe we'll start in the south. So you start facing south, and you go to each corner of the room, blowing the smoke in each corner and into the closet. Like, let's say you're in a bedroom, and then you go on to the bathroom, and you go counterclockwise, and then each room, as you go along, you do it the same way. And a lot of people like to pray, say chants, mantras, affirmations, or just talk to the energy and be like, can rhyme, or it may not have to rhyme, but you can be like, just get out of my house. I'm wiping it clean. I am free of all negative energy. Or you could dance and sing while you're blowing that sage stick around, just having a good time, you know, lifting the vibrations and the energy at the same time. That's always fun too. But the main thing is just blowing that smoke in every corner, in every cabinet, every cupboard in the whole house. When you're done saging, thank the gods and the goddess, thank the sage, and then you can go on to protecting your home. Let's see. Oh, and don't forget to smudge yourself, people. Very important. Take that stick, go down the back of your body, down the front, over each arm, down your legs. I also have some frankincense and myrrh oil I like to use. I put it on my pulse points, my neck, my third eye, my heart, and my ankles on the inside, on each side. And that to me also helps protect and purify the negative energy on me. You can also take a purification bath, which, you know, that's great. I mean, awesome. It might actually make you feel more relaxed and enjoy the process better. You can take a bath with special oils that corresponding to purification. You can use salt to remove all the negativity, and it's great for your skin, let me tell you. It's awesome. And you can even pick out a special robe or something to wear while you do this. It's all good. Just whatever feels right to you. Also, word of advice is you should try to always physically clean your house before you smudge it, or before you clean it, or psychically. Because dust and dirt are like electric magnets for negative energy. And this is actually a scientific fact. Dust and dirt collect negative energy, and that negative energy collects there and grows just like the sticky stuff. That's why you have that dust cleaner for your electronics, because it can blow a circuit if it gets dusty enough. It conducts electricity. Okay, now what if you can't smudge? What if you can't burn shit in your house because your family would have a cow, or you live in an apartment? Well, just like smudging, you can do the exact same process using sound. Some things you can do is clapping your hands, using bells, rattles, drums, even a tuning fork, anything that causes a positive energetic vibration. And don't forget, you can sing and chant too as well while you're doing these noise making. Dance around the house while you're making music or just noise. Another tip is the sound must be something you like. And this is important. If the noise you're making makes you cringe, you're defeating your whole purpose. You should be enjoying the sound. It should be something that resonates positively with you, or forget about it. You're wasting your time. And a third way is using water. You can blast plain water with the idea of cleansing, and just like the smudging process, do it with just the water. You can add salt, you can add herbs to the water, it doesn't matter. Even sprinkle some on yourself too, of course, to cleanse yourself. And you can even wash the walls and the doors and the windows with it as an even bigger oomph of power in your cleansing routine. Now let's see. So, there are many, many ways to cleanse your house, and I by no means am going to cover them all. There's some fascinating ways to do it out there. Just look for it, women. My sisters, I have faith in you. And if you guys come up with any new ways to cleanse that you want to share with us, that would be awesome. We are always trying to learn from each other. That's part of the reason we are here, to give as much as we get. And so if you find something new and interesting you want to share with us, by all means, please do. I am all for that. And I'm sure the rest of you sisters are interested in learning anything from the new sisters that could be of value. And I'm sure everything you guys share is of value to us in the coven. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Finally, protection. How do you protect yourself? My favorite way is using salt. Salt is great. It's cheap. It comes in many different forms. You got salt for your driveway. You have rock salt. You have kosher salt. You have fine salt, like table salt, Epsom salt. But in essence, it's all salt. So it doesn't matter what kind you use. Okay? Just remember that. My favorite way of using salt is I place a line of salt, this is of course after the thorough cleansing, along all the doorways of the front and the back door, and in the windowsills, a line in each windowsill. Also, don't forget, if you have a fireplace or wood burning stove, you need to put a line of salt in there too, because that is another way into the house. Some people go as far as putting salt across every doorway, and that's fine too. It's all up to you. Now, you don't have to leave that salt there forever. I always recommend leaving salt at least 24 hours, and then you can vacuum it up, clean it, whatever you have to do if you have to get rid of it the next day. And then I would recommend putting it in a bag and setting it outside for the trash. That way it's out of your house. It's done its job. The protection, the energy, the intent is still there, even though it's not there anymore. Okay, now, here is a bit of a witchy tip that I have to share with you that I actually do myself. I like to take salt, whatever kind I have at home at the time that I have enough of. I add an equal part baking soda and different herbs with properties that match my intention. So like, let's say if I'm doing this in the living room, I would use the intention of peace and harmony and joy, laughter, whatever you want, whatever you think you need in your living room. And I spread it all over my floor. Now, this does 3 things. It removes odors, baking soda, perfect. It removes negative energy, score. It creates a room with your magical intent, so that magical intent is spread all over the floor. It's all over the place. And the salt actually helps lift and remove dirt and dust from your carpets. Amazing. So you can, if you can stand it, leave it there for 24 hours, please. That's usually the earliest. I like to vacuum it up. I've done it quicker, but then I had to redo it sooner, recharge it. So by leaving it just a little extra longer, the more you're going to get out of it. So once you vacuum it up, just like the windowsills and the doorways, pour the salt and the mixture into a bag and put it outside. Okay. Another way to protect you and your home is with sigils or symbols that stand for protection to you. Sigils are magically charged symbols that you create yourself or that you use one that someone else has made for that specific intent already. But it's always better to make things yourself. Here is another something you've really got to understand. The more effort you put into your house and your magic, the more results you get back, the better the results are. So effort equals results, always. So don't forget that. That's very, very important. So the more time and energy you spend on creating a spell, the better the results of the spell will be in the end. Because you're putting so much time and energy into that intention, whatever it may be. And it builds and it builds and it builds. So when it gets released, it's so much more powerful. Or you just, on the fly, think of a little spell to say the natural way. And, you find a feather and make a wish on it and let it go and carry it away on the wind. Just out of the blue. That'll be powerful too. But I'm just saying, effort equals results. Okay. So I would research sigil making. It is fun, creative, relaxing pursuit. Some people do good with it. Some people don't like it. There's so much to learn out there, ladies. A symbol can be anything to you that stands for protection. Like, I don't know but a ring around the house. You see the house, and then you put a ring around it. That seems like protection to you. Or maybe a gun in your mind. It seems like protection to you. Protections, things that stand for protection. Okay, you can draw these symbols on your doors and over your windowsills. Put them around your house using blessed water or oil. Paint them or use something that represents protection to you. Some ways I've read about or done can be very sneaky. Very sneaky. I use oil or water and draw pentagrams on the backs of my doors and on every window. And then, once these are done and dried, you can wash them off, knowing energetically the symbol is still there, even though it can't be seen. I don't recommend, though, using oil on your windows, and I'm sure I don't have to explain why. I plan on using glow-in-the-dark paint I got. I'm so excited to draw sigils on my doors and over my windows. That is glow-in-the-dark paint, and you won't be able to see it unless the lights are off, so sneaky me. Some people use wreaths made out of things that correspond to protection. Like I said, you can find many different, let's say like pine branches or a certain herb or ivy or whatever. Look up the correspondences that portray to protection, and you can use those to make the wreath out of. Or you can buy them pre-made. Like an Easter wreath can be for Astra, and a Christmas wreath can be turned into something for Yule. Or you can buy the wreath plain and unmade and add whatever you want to it that represents the intention you're looking for. And this is a really fun and, in your face, you have no idea what it means kind of thing. Well, unless you're like putting pentagrams all over it, and then I'm sure somebody would figure it out sooner or later. You can even change the decorations with the Sabbats and the Espets and other seasonal holidays, so that's always fun. You can charm wind chimes. You can draw your symbols or sigils under your doormats, and no one would know on the other side of them. You can use artwork, sun catchers, statues, houseplants, rocks and stones, garden plants, You can bless and charm your cleaning products and cleaning tools and add oils and herbs that are protective to them as well. You can create a witch bottle, something that Lady M has explained about how to make them earlier, but if you missed that, you need to do your research and rewatch her video. You can bury them. They're easy to make, and you can bury them where people will step over them as they're coming to your door. So you could do that, or I always like to just place them as they are behind my stairs, just under them, not buried, just sitting under them. I don't know why. If I can get away with doing that, I usually do. That's how I like to roll. You can bury them in your garden. You can grow protective plants around your house. I plan on charging 4 stones and placing one on each corner of my property with the intention to protect my home and fill it with nothing but good positive energy and keeping bad things out. Although, one thing I must tell you, all negative energy is not necessarily a bad thing, and we can go into that at a later time. Okay. You can call on angels and spirits to be present to protect you, your home, and your family. And then you don't have to have any tools at all. Now, all magic is created here. In fact, you can do a heck of a lot of magic without using anything at all but your mind alone. It's very powerful. Don't let anyone ever tell you you're stupid, because your mind can do amazing things. And that's all you need to know. Be confident in that. Okay. Go into meditation and ground yourself. Pull up the energy and the divine energy from the earth and from above down into your body, and imagine it filling up your entire body with a bright light. I imagine gold glitter in my light, and you can choose the color of the light to correspond to your intention. Or use white light, because that's always good. White light is good for anything. Now imagine that light filling up the room around you. Then it'll fill up your entire house, every room, every closet, every cupboard, and then the entire of your property. Now imagine a pentagram. I like to imagine a fiery pentagram in my case. Fill it with as much love and light as you can, sending lots of energy to it. Do this in all 4 directions: east, south, west, north. And then you want to do a pentagram. Imagine a pentagram above you and below you, in the sky and under the ground. Some people get very specific with this by placing pentagrams also on the walls of your house, on the ceiling and the floor, and on every window and door, in every room of your house, and even pentagrams that circle yourself. And actually, that is a great way to personally protect yourself. If you feel like you're in danger, or you feel like you need to protect yourself from some negative energy that's going around, I like to imagine 4 pentagrams, fired pentagrams, 1 in front of me, 1 on each side of me, 1 behind me. And then 1 above me, and 1 below me that's big enough for me to stand in. And I find that I like to keep my pentagrams rotating around me, and they just kind of just deflect negative people away from me. It works. And deflect negative energies away from me. I go to parties and someone starts irritating me, I do the pentagram thing, they go away, and I have a great time. So try it. It may work for you, but that's one way to do it. When you're done mentally putting up all your wards, oh yeah, you will have to periodically, recharge your wards. That's what these are called. these sigils and these protection measures are called wards. However often you feel the need to, they don't last forever, unfortunately. And we need to take time and put energy back into them to keep them strong and healthy. Now, let's say for me, I live in a very happy household for the most part, despite my challenges. I'm not blind to negativity. I'm not one of those positively energy blind people that think that only there's rainbows and unicorns and that's it. Wrong. I realize there's misery in life. And I've been very upset in my home before. And you may too. And the more havoc and negativity and chaos that's going on around you, the more often you're going to have to reset your wards. Okay? You just go back into that spot in your mind and imagine yourself putting your hand on the pentagram and sending love and light and as much energy as you can to each one. And that's it. In the house, if you got those sigils drawn or those symbols, just go around, do the same thing, send love, light, and energy to each thing that you're using as a protection device. And then after you're done with all this, you may feel like you have this excessive amount of energy left over. And it can cause some anxiety and twitchiness. And so what you want to do is you want to take your hands after you're done and close your eyes and put your hands to the earth and imagine all excess energy draining back to the earth where she can use it again. And that's it. Then I would recommend eating something which also helps ground you and drinking lots of water because, believe it or not, putting up wards is hard work. It does, you're using energy, so, you know, you may feel a little depleted afterwards. Some people, when they do really big things, like spells or rituals, they are exhausted for days afterwards, and it's to be expected. It's a lot of work. Okay, one last way I've done myself is I've cleansed and charged stones, herbs and stones, and put them together in small little bags, and they're kind of like juju bags or mojo bags, whatever you want to call them. Preferably made out of a natural material. Even synthetic's okay, just don't use plastic. It's terrible. And you put them in the bag, and then you leave them in the room. Now, how often do you need to recharge any of these? 2 months. Usually, every 2 to 3 months. So, 4 times a year, which isn't bad. And it may only take you an hour, it may take you half an hour, but it's worth it. So, just don't forget to do that. You may even want to do it on an equinox or a solstice. You know, every equinox and every solstice, recharge your wards. It's a good way to remember, ladies. Let's see. So, let's say you want to make a bag for your bedroom. You would want amethyst for peace and rose quartz for love in there. And then some chamomile and lavender for sleep and peace and beauty. And then you just keep it in your room. I like to hang them on my candlesticks that hang on the wall or off my nightstand. And there are endless possibilities of what you can put in them and what you can put them in. Just figure out what's right for you and go with it. It's a lot of fun making these mojo bags. And you can make one for every room of your house, which I have done, which is really fun. Okay. What I have shared with you today is by no means complete and entire. There are more ways to do witchcraft and accomplish cleansing and protecting than I can get into right now. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, which I am happy to answer. Just post them under the video, under the comments. Also, if you disagree with anything I have shared, once again, that's perfectly okay. It may be very different for you. There has been thousands of years people have been crafting magic, and not everyone shares the same opinions on how the craft is done. And that's because it's a craft. And it's very individual. So don't let anyone tell you any different. Don't let anyone say, oh, well, that's wrong. You should do this instead. Have them explain why, and then explain to them why you really feel that it's better to do it your way. I mean, or you don't even have to do that. You can go, okay, that's great, but no, I'm going to stay with the way I like to do it. And that should be okay, and if they don't think that, then they're trying to control you somehow, as far as I'm concerned. But anyways. Not everyone shares the same opinions on how the craft is done. Different traditions, cultures, and authors don't always agree or may even contradict each other. And I have seen this. And so read multiple sources, double check your sources, try to get as many point of views as you can so that you are comfortable knowing how you feel about something and how you're doing it. Okay. And that's about it. Doing what feels right to you, that's how you create powerful magic. Powerful magic comes from in here and in here. And tools are there to symbolize things and to help you manifest your magic, but you can create wonderful magic without tools at all. But I will be going over tools at another time. So I've used up enough of your time. This has been a really long video, and I appreciate you all watching. I thank you, and I love you, sisters, and I hope you have a blessed day. Blessed be. And Merry Christmas.